Good evening, everyone. It is Sunday, and today I was thinking of doing something just a little different. What I mean by different is when I demonstrate card making, I usually demonstrate with die cuts and things like that, things that I have, which of course not everybody does have, especially if you're not a card maker. So today I'm going to be doing it from the perspective of someone who is just wanting to make a Christmas card, a birthday card, or any kind of card for someone. And they do not have all the materials and the die cuts and the stamping that I would have as a card maker. So I am going to do my best to show you a step by step as to how you can create a card with what you do have. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And of course, if you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And I challenge each and every one of you who watch this video to try it out for yourselves. And if you can, maybe send pictures or post what you came up with, that would be definitely appreciated, just to see if I was able to get the message across. So to begin with, you would need a couple of things. You would need paper. Now, I just use this white paper, but it could be any color paper. And I would strongly advise that you get card making paper, which you can get from Michaels or Hobby Lobby. Now, most times there are coupons that you can use. You can go on the website of either Michael or Hobby Lobby, and you could look for coupons in order to help you purchase the paper. That's provided that you want to make, just have it handy just in case you want to make cards, just for your friends and family in the future. That would be a good option for you. I would also advise it to be 110 pound for the card base. The simple reason that the firmer and sturdier the card base is, the better it will be able to handle anything that you stick on it. In other words, it will retain its shape, and of course it will not look warped because you added things to it. The lighter the paper is, the uglier the card will become if the paper is not strong enough to hold whatever it is you're going to attach to it. So I advise the 110 pound cardstock, which I normally use, and in that way you have a sturdier card base. Now, you can get actually two cards out of one card base. So that's the first thing you would need. You would need the paper, which is 110 pound cardstock. Okay, then you would need a pair of scissors, pencil, a ruler. I mean, I just have this here, but your regular everyday school rulers, that's what I am actually meaning. I don't have one, but this would be what you would need. And you would need glue. If you're someone who like gems, you can have some gems. You can get them from Walmart, because Walmart does have a craft section, so you can go in there and look at different things that they may have that you might like and want to put on your card. So you could have gems, you could have anything you want, or if you have buttons around the house, you can also use buttons. You can just use buttons as well. Okay, what else can you use? Just things you have around. Buttons. I don't know, if you don't have buttons, you can make small circles with, like, say, example, like this here. If you can find something small enough, you can just make circles and cut them out of paper, right? You could use construction paper for those. Now, just a little suggestion: when you're going to cut out the circles, I suggest you cut them closer to the end of the paper, because then if you could do it in the middle, you're going to have to cut through all of that to get around that little circle. Whereas if you have it closer to the edge, you could always just cut it out of the edge of any paper you're using. Now, the circles can be just blank. It could be maybe from old Christmas paper you have hanging around, and you want, if it's for Christmas, you want that Christmas feeling, so you can cut circles out of that. Even here at the bottom of your, glue or anything round, you can just trace around the circle and cut it out. So here's your circle. And there are many other things that you can use around the house to help you to, get circles. Even this here, I have this bottle of cream. I think this might be almost the size, well, just a little bigger, but these are just examples, how you can get circles if you don't have die cuts and things like that. So those are just suggestions. So once you have those supplies, glue included, of course, then you're pretty much ready to get going. Now, as far as sticking a sentiment on the front, this was from a stamp that I have that says have a holly jolly Christmas. But you could always go on the internet and look for like free stuff, like free Christmas words or free Christmas sentiments, anything you want. You could also make your own if you want in Microsoft Word. You could just pull up a blank sheet of Microsoft, type in what you would like, whether you want it centered, so you have everything how you need it, print it out, and then you can cut it around any shape that you want. With this one, I just cut it in the shape of the stamp that I was using, so it's not the regular one, but these are just examples. So let's begin with how you go about getting started. So with one cardstock paper, like I mentioned, you can have 2 cards, okay? Now, average card width is, I think, 11 and a half or 11 and a quarter. I'm sorry, I forgot offhand. And then this would normally be like 8 or 8 inches or something like that. I'm sorry guys, I forgot about that measurement. But let's say we measure here with that ruler. So that should be about 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's about 11. So you want to use your ruler and you're going to get half of that page, right? Now, this here, your width of your paper, we're talking about landscape. If you have it landscape, you want to do about 5.5, okay? So you're gonna measure from one end to get to the end here. You want to be able to make sure you get it right where you need it. I use the square because it's kind of easier for me to do that. And again, I usually use other materials, but I'm trying to do it as someone who don't have all those materials. So I am going to look for 5.5 because this should be about 11 thereabout. So 5.5 and 5.5 would give you 11. So I'll put a dot up here, and then I'm going to do the very same thing down at the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and do 5.5. Now I'm going to go ahead, use the square here. Hopefully that works. I'm just going to put a light thing here so we can have I'm a little off, but that's okay. So here you have your 2 cards already. So you're going to get your scissors. That way you need your scissors, and you're going to just cut on that line. And just take your time, no rush. You're cutting on that line. And then once you're done, just go ahead and take your eraser and to get out that extra paper thingy here. Okay. Now, you now have 2 cards, okay? So right now it's looking up. So we're gonna just take a piece of this so you can see. We can go ahead and take it. So now that you have your piece of paper, what do you do next? You need to fold this paper in half. So you're gonna do this. You're gonna make sure the ends are together like this as best as you can, and then you're going to fold it down. You could use the end of your scissors like this so you can get it to fold properly, like this part of your scissors. so you can get it to go down properly. Okay, so now here is one of your cards. Okay, now this card is going to be measured here 4¼ by 5½ once you're done. Now if say you do fold the paper, you'll notice that it's a little off at the top. That's no problem. Just go ahead and get your scissors and just kind of, you know, snip that little extra piece off at the top. There we go. So now you don't no longer have a piece peekabooing up here. It's all good. The other side should be okay as well. But again, if that doesn't work, just go ahead and use your scissors and just get that little extra piece off. Okay, so now you have everything as you need it to. Now you have your paper. That's the first thing. Now what do you do next? What do you want to decorate it with? Okay, so just for purposes of this, I'm just going to use this here. I want my sentiment to be, say, in the middle. You could have your sentiment at the top. You could have it down the side, like Happy Merry Christmas. You could have it one on top of the other. It's entirely up to you how you want it. But this is basically, I want my holly jolly in the middle. So I have that. I can do one of two things. I can choose to use some gems, which I like gems, you know, just to represent snowflakes. These I got again at Walmart. They're actually like snowflakes. Now please, you don't have to use a white. I only use the white just because there was no reason, right? So now I have snowflakes. I can, you know, place them how I would like them to be. Say I want them to be like, let's say I want them to be something like this. I can choose to have them like cascading down like this on the paper. I can choose to just have them maybe lining the edge. It just depends on how you want your card to look. Okay, now for this case I want them to cascade, so I am going to start with one on the top. I'm going to put the other one down at the bottom, and I'm going to kind of put those in the middle so that I can have them, and I will show you what I mean by, you know, well, I call it cascade, but diagonal down the page, and I will show you in just a moment. You try to just have them spaced out, you know, as best as you would like. Now the other thing you can do, which also can help as well, if you have another piece of paper, it could be lighter than this. It could be, say, a green, say if you had a green piece, or let me see if I have another piece of paper here that we could use. Let's see. Yeah, but you definitely want to really work with what you do have as much as possible. In that way you don't have to feel uncomfortable. Okay, so just for wanting sake, say I want to use this piece here. This is black. Okay, this is a black piece. The black piece of paper I have is much lighter than the 110 pound cardstock. Now I cut it down to 4 inches by 5¼ because this base here is 4¼ by 5½. So in other words, I'm just cutting it down just a smidge so that I can have it to fit right here. Okay, now I am going to use my glue because this is what I have. You can get Elmer's glue. It is craft bonding, pretty much any kind of glue, so that's why I chose that one. So I'm going to just go ahead and get some glue on there like that. So again, it's using what you know, the cheaper things that you have. If you do not have all the fancy card making things, the die cutting machines and all of that, you don't have that. Now the reason why I was telling you to just make sure that your card base is very sturdy is because now we're going to be adding this, and your card base need to be strong enough to hold everything that you're putting on it. So now I'm going to put this on. I am going to stand up because I like to eyeball and stand up. In that way you can, that's what I like to do. Now you don't necessarily have to do it exactly, you know, to fit in the center. You can turn it to a side and you can always cut off the extra black. It's up to you. It doesn't have to be exactly like this. So here you have an example. You could have any color paper you want on top of this. Now so far there is no warping of the paper because it's strong enough to hold what you're putting on it. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my gems. So it just depends on what gems you want. So I'm going to kind of look and see how I want those gems to come out. So whether it's gems, whether it's pictures, whatever it is you want, that's what you're going to look for and at. So I am just placing those at strategic points to see how I want it to look. If that doesn't work, then, you know, I just kind of play around with it. I can just have it down the one side if that's what I want, or I can have it in the middle. So I am now having to decide what's best, and that's the whole thing about card making. You need to be able to have fun making them. You don't want it to be something that, oh my goodness, what a chore to make. So you really want to decide what's best. So I decided that I want to try maybe having them to cascade, and I'm going to explain that in just a moment. So I have this right here, okay? Now what we can do is make it look like dropping snowflakes, right? Now you could use thread. Let me see what I have that maybe you can. Maybe if you have just regular sewing thread, or you just want to use some kind of marker. Let me see if I have a dark marker here, but I will use this so that I can actually, because I want it to slant. If you can see, I want it to slant. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to kind of put a bit of a pencil mark. Hopefully I can see it. I cannot see anything. Well, you could kind of see it depending on the angle, but you know, I will have to look at it better. So this is what I'm going to do. I am going to try, let me use, say, I'm going to use, oh, just hold on, a red. I'm looking for a red marker. You could also have markers as well, because it no telling what you can do with markers. Let me see how this black is going to stand up against the red. Some people use what you call it. You can use rope if you want, or like you could use this if you want to. I mean, but it's kind of big, so I don't want to use it on here because I don't like how big it's gonna be. I think it's just too big, so I'm not going to use that one. But I think the best one for you to use is like thread, and that's okay. So I am going to see if I can see this. That will work. So I'm going to try to always put on the two ends each side, and then you can always space what's in between, so you have exactly, you can at least have an idea of the spacing. Okay, so this here looks like they're pretty spaced. So let me go ahead and I will move this one. Let me see. I'll do this one first. So you can use your ruler, and wherever you want it to start off, then you would put your line. So let's see if that's going to help. If it doesn't, but you know, like I said, you can use thread, you can use anything that you want. Now this is really light, so you cannot really see but then you would need like thread, so this is not going to really work the way I thought it would. But let's just for now just pretend that we do have thread or something very thin. See, like this here is a piece of thin paper. You could use that right here, and you see, if you notice, it's not as thick, so it looks a lot better on this rather than, you know, having a big old piece of thread. So I would say you could just get a regular roll of thread, and then you can use that as well. So I am just going to use this piece right here, so it will give you the idea of what I'm referring to. So I have a lighter glue that I'm going to use. Let me just get it. And I'm just going to do a light little glue line on here, if my hands can stay straight. And then I'm going to put this piece on. I'm going to put this piece from the top. It's kind of hard to get it. Again, this is for those of us who did not have all those fancy cutting machines and die cuts. It's just, you know, getting a few things you might need in order to get that effect that you want. So I'm going to cut this here. And then I'm going to take the back of this off, because at the back of this has some glue. I usually like to just add a little extra for good measure to make sure that it sticks. Whoops. And then I'm going to put it right here. Okay, so that gives you an idea where I'm going with all of this. So you have a few more of those here, and then you will be good to go. Now I have another piece I'm going to use. Since this side is a short side, I'm going to put the other piece here. So let's go ahead and use the lighter glue. Now there's all different kinds of glue. Let me just try and see if I can get the line that I want. Just a moment. Okay, so I'm doing another little line so that I can at least get the glue here. Okay, so that's my other line. So you're getting the picture of what I'm trying to do here, because I want you to know that you could make cards at home even if you don't have all the machines that most of us have. You just have to be careful because it can get a little messy, and you don't want it to be messy as such. So you could also just, you know, pretty much get what you need. Okay, so I have this. Let's do the other one, which would be, again, I'm going to put a little glue here because I want to make sure it sticks. Okay, so here's the other one. All right, so far you have the first and the second here. Again, that's why you need a card that can take the weight of whatever you're putting on the card base. So if you get anything like construction paper or anything like that, it's not gonna stay nice and together. It's gonna, this top here is gonna get like warped, I guess, for a better word, because it's too, the stuff you're going to put on is going to be too heavy for it to take it. So this is one of the things I was trying to show you guys. So I'm going to see if I have some more white. So I got another piece here, and these are all scraps from yeah, this is a perfect piece here. So let me see how far from here I will put the other one. So let's say I kind of want to put them down so you could see again. So I want to be able to space. Okay, so I want to say this will work. So that means I'm going to have to put another piece about here. So let me go ahead and do this and I will be right back. Okay, so here you have what I was referring to as far as cascading. So these are just white little strips of paper that I had from scrap, which you can do. It will take a little doing, but it's always possible. All you have to do is to just like hold, like, again, this is a strip I had. Just take your time and just try and cut as thin of a strip as possible. So you see, you can get little strips like that, so you can get that effect that I have here, if that's gonna be helpful to you. So this would be the front of the card. Now, as far as this, I can place this here if I want to, which is just right, the sentiment right here. And that's fine, if you want that. Now, another thing you can use, if you do want, there is like glue dots, fun foam, things like that, that you can use if you want this to be like give this dimension, if you don't want it just flat on here. And let me show you what you can use, because I did get some rolls and also some squares. So these are mountain squares. These are a little more expensive, but you don't necessarily have to have it. But I paid like, I think, what, $4 or $2 and something cents for this. I ordered this from overseas. And this is a way you can actually add dimension to any anything really that you want to elevate and have it looking really nice. So I'm going to just do this so you can see. Okay, so I just used the square so that you can see, but you can either have it flat, or you can choose to add either fun foam on the back, or anything that elevates it off the paper a little bit to give it some kind of a bit of dimension. So I'm going to just stick this right here. Okay, so you can do this just very simple like that. Now this is just a simple design. If you would like to add anything to it, you could always, like I said, use any Christmas paper, cut out any little thing that you think is going to add a little bit of flair to it, if that works for you. And that's pretty much something you can do. Again, you don't have to have a white base, but you could have any color base that you want. You could get gems to match Christmas colors. It's just up to you. But whatever you do, just know that the card base has to be pretty sturdy and strong to take anything that you add on it. So now that you have the outside, you want to also look into what you want on the inside. Now, if you have a computer or a laptop or anything attached to a printer, or you say you don't even have a printer, but say you can access the internet and just get some free stuff, again, like Christmas words or messages or anything like that, you could go ahead and print it out on maybe a measure out 5x7 paper, a piece of paper. Print it out, and you could cut it down to 4x5 1/4, which would be a little smaller than this. And then you just add the glue to it, and you just adhere it to inside the card right here. So basically, it's very easy to make a card. It just depends on what you're looking for. You have Walmart with the craft section with little things in there that you can use. And you can basically, just have fun with making the cards. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's the thought that counts. So with that said, this is a step-by-step on how you can make your own Christmas card. birthday card or whatever the card you want to be, but it's just basics. So thank you so much for watching. And again, if you want to try this out on your own, I will be happy to see what you come up with. I challenge you to send me a picture or post a picture of a card that you have done with things around the house, whether it's the end of a cream bottle, or anything that gives you a shape that you would like to use, anything. But let me see what you come up with. I would really love to see it. So I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy your week and be safe. Bye bye.